Hey, BassGeek here, and the spawn is on. I love to catch them on the beds this time of year. The big ones though, they're smart and they love to get up in and around some heavy cover and make those beds. Man, do I got a hack for you. So let's talk about the situation we had today. So the bass are up on the beds. Generally, that means a good warm up right around the full moon or the new moon. So it's got to coincide with each other a little bit. And we're talking about 58 degree and above. Once that water temp hits that 58 degree, seems like it's the magic number in my area, as long as it coincides with some sort of major moon phase. Now, we don't have to really cover much of the situation other than that, because once the bass move up, they're up. They're committed. And these bass have been committed. So let's move on to location. Situation and location definitely builds us a pattern. We are definitely looking on the highlands reservoirs that I live on. We are looking where the largemouth like to spawn in ditches. So drainage ditches, they'll spawn on either side so that if it does rain, the eggs in the bed doesn't get washed away. So they'll spawn on either, I call them the corners, back corners of the ditches. That's where the largemouth like to spawn at. And the truth is, they may spawn middle of the third all the way to the back of the creek, so the back thirds. And that's where we'll start looking for them at. We love to look for them around and in trash pockets, and that can even be on the main lake, believe it or not. They'll pull in there with a little bit of overhead cover, and they'll spawn in those areas, those ditch areas that have trash floating in them. So anything you can find like that, that's going to be key to finding those bass. Those are the locations you're going to target to flip. So let's talk about what makes this bait right here special. This is the Bull Bream from NetBait. It's a brand new bait, and as you guys seen in our Bassmaster Classic video, they've got a lot of baits that they revealed to us. We got to show for the first time. That will be out in a few months. This little bait is incredible. I love to flip it, like I said earlier, just because it's got a great bluegill or a great brim profile. Now, what's unique about this bait, number one, it does have the Hex Tech technology in it. So it makes the bait really, really soft. It's really soft. But the other thing is you can take the bait fuel gel and fill these little hexagons full. And that gel is a little thicker than the original bait fuel, and so it'll slowly feed out as you're fishing it and get you a few more bites. Now, every single little appendage, and what I love is they put the peck and dorsal fins on here, but each one of them has a little, for lack of a better term, a paddle, but it's got a little piece on each one of these individually that is going to make it really have some extra flap. Now, the other great thing is that you can tear each one of these apart. So sometimes I like to tear these straight down the middle. Sometimes I like to tear the two outside and take the two inside or three inside and tear them out and throw them away completely so that you have a sort of a V-tail. So a lot of different things you can do with this bait and a lot of really cool features about these baits. All right, so this color that we're talking about right here, one of my favorite colors, this is called the Real Deal. So it's got a little bit of blue on the back and kind of a watermelon on the opposite side. This is black and blue flake. Not only do they mimic a brim, but you can also get away with some good shad colors too. This is magic white. Hey, you guys down in Florida, this is tilapia magic. Great color right here. I love this color. It is called Copper Gill. By the way, if you haven't noticed the sticker, these are all made in the USA. And this color is Swamp Juice. Now this reminds me of a June bug, but they call it Galaxy Gill. I always like to have a bold bluegill or what I call a summer crawl. I don't know which one this one most looks like, but I love the name. This is Gill Pickle. So this has been my rod, reel, and line for flipping for quite some time now. This is a TFO Resolve. This is one of their high-end series. And to me, flipping, when you're flipping something in, you want to be able to feel every branch you're ticking. You want to be able to feel the lightest of nibbles, nips, because it's just going to catch you more fish. Flipping, for me, it is important to have something that is going to relay the most vibration, the most feel back, and that's what the TFO Resolve does. 7.6 heavy, flipping's kind of been that's sort of your standard all the time, fast action. So I've got that coupled with the Lose SP. Now this is their flipping reel. Basically, it's a very shallow spool. Like, I can cast every ounce of line off of it. It's really what it's designed for, is those close quarter tactics. This is an 8-3-1. It's real fast. I always say, if you're punching or you're around a lot of grass, to me, you need a lower. I like a high 7s, because here's the deal with speed. Higher speeds, less torque. So when you set the hook, you want to be able to winch them in. Your higher speeds, if you're around grass, what's going to happen is you're going to reel down and make the rod do the work. Reel down, make the rod do the work. And you're going to have a lot of grass on that bass. So I always advise 7.5, 7.8, somewhere in that. Maybe an 8. If it's really designed like this to be a flipping, but we're talking about flipping wood. So that's what I'm going to go with, that 8-3. We're going to hit them, get them up and get them out as fast as we can. Got the Pro 120 pound fluorocarbon on here from K9. Good heavy duty line. It'll pull, if you get it hung in a tree, you can pull the tree out with it. You're not going to have any problems. So flipping and pitching. Pitching's a little bit different. Flipping, for me, is what we're going to be doing predominantly. And generally what I do is, when I've got it rigged, I keep, I grab hold of the hook like this, and I keep it just above my reel. When I flip it out there, I drop the rod tip. I keep my elbow out, and it's just a pendulum up. Make sure you use that thumb. Stop that bait. Now, you'll get a little high when you're first doing this. You want to try and keep it as tight, low and tight to the water as you can. But if you get a little height to the flip, just make sure you're thumbing that spool and slowing that down as you go, so you get a nice quiet entry into the water. That's really one of the biggest keys. I like to keep my spool free and control it with my thumb. Educate your thumb on this. You're going to be able to flip a little bit farther. And sometimes in these clear waters, that can be key for me. Now, you're in dirtier water, you don't have to worry as much. But then, once you put it in there, you don't want big hops. You don't want to hop, 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 because remember, you're flipping this blindly to bass that are on the beds. So what you're going to do is you're just going to give it a little hop, give it a little hop. Think about moving your rod tip about the length and a half of the bait. So the bait comes up. Great thing is, this looks like a bluegill, and they're not going to hesitate, because they hate bluegills coming near their bed right now, and they're going to smash it. You're going to feel them hit it. You're going to set the hook straight up. No side sets with this. You're setting straight up. You've got to get those bass, get their head turned, and get them coming straight up out of the water. From there, do not play them. You've got 20-pound test line on, do not play them. Winch, 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 boat hop in if you don't have time to get the net. I was watching somebody just the other night, and they had a bass on a jig, and he was fighting like crazy, and they were playing him, and his buddy was kind of him-hawing around about getting the net, and then he lost him. So this is a heavy setup. Get them in the boat. If your buddy ain't got the net for you, fish slap him. Bass slap him right in the daggum head when you're flipping it in there. I mean, it should smack, make it hurt. That way next time he knows, get moving. All right, so we're flipping and pitching this thing today, like I said, into those heavy cover beds. And rigging this great little bait is pretty simple, but before we even get into rigging it, I'm going to show you a couple hacks that I like to do to it. So one of the hacks is I like to put a little bit of orange, and guys, I just use a Sharpie 90% of the time. That works, and I'll put it on top and on bottom. That way it looks like no matter what direction, you've got an orange throat on this bull brim. And then, as always, you know, there's a lot of the brim around that have that little chartreuse line, those small brim. So what I'll do is I'll put a nice chartreuse line down the tail of this bait right here. So this is just your standard pitching and flipping rig. That's how we're rigging it. Sometimes I'll double the bobber stop depending on the line size so that the weight don't beat it around and slide it up too much. But we got a bobber stop, we've got a tungsten weight, I like that green on there, and then we've got a good straight shank flipping and pitching. I don't remember who makes this. Again, links will be down in the description, but it's got a little keeper there that keeps the bait up. And what we do is we just tie a snail knot on here so that when this comes down and hits, it really sets that hook up and into the mouth of the bass. All right, my fishing geeks, listen, we're not out on the water. I forgot to do the outro for this, so I'm going to tell you right now, hey, you need to make sure you go check this out. This is a brand new bait that the bass haven't seen, and it has a lot of options and capabilities to rig. One of my favorite ways is what you've seen in this video today, especially when the bass are on the bed. But there's a lot of other ways to fish it, especially as we get into the brim spawn or the bluegill spawn. It will also be another killer to fish that time of year. If you want to check out another, and listen, NetBait is on a comeback. They're pumping out some new baits and a bunch of new baits that you've seen this year. So here's something that I'm going to do. I'm going to send you actually to the Bassmaster Classic video. If you'll go right here and go check that out, they show some baits to me exclusively that aren't even out, that haven't been seen on the social interwebs yet. Hey, we appreciate you geeks. Thank you 100% Watch Squad. Hey, YouTube hates us. We need your all's help. And as always, comments in the comment section below. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell. Be part of the 100% Watch Squad. We need you geeks, and you geeks rock.